Right now, here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines, and away we go. I see Corey, I see Ira. You guys are here as well. Thanks so much for that. As we get started, we thank our friends from Register Sausage. Yay, sausage! The wins just keep piling up, boys. Good times.
Every time you do the I see Corey, I see Ira, I think of the I see London, I see France. I see.
What's that? It's an old nursery rhyme from the 50s.
I see Corey's underpants. That's what the
Sweet.
That's a terrible image. Let's get back to the sausage.
He's lost all that.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yay, sausage.
Yes.
Moving along. Hopefully there's another bonus code and a bunch of bonus
He
codes.
did it again.
All the winnings.
Ben went crazy again. Another one. Gave away more free family packs of sausage.
Did you see what the promo code was for that one?
I did not retweet that. I did not share that because
it was Brownlee, right?
Yes. Well, you said it.
Yeah, he got abused. That was beautiful.
Well, it's a tough ask. It's a tough kid to cover.
Well, I guess, but I mean, he got absolutely crushed in a way that nobody else has. I mean, he was actually hammered.
I think he wouldn't be the last.
He won't be the last, but he's not good at covering people, so it's okay to rip his ass. Yeah. It was a beautiful thing to pick on him.
Well, you have at it. But as far as Florida State goes, man, it's a nice win, and Ben was all excited. And
that was the promo code.
And I think there's another promo code just for a discount, but it's go to registermeats.com is the website. And you can get all of the Register's sausage you want delivered to you, unless you're in Florida or the Southeast.
Then you can go and just get it yourself.
Go to your local grocery store. If they don't have it, make your voice heard. Don't stand by. Don't be a shrinking violet. Let them know non-violently what you want your Registers in their grocery store.
I think that by season's end, the whole country will have Register sausage.
Yeah. Well, when game day's here, we're going to have all our Register sausage signs.
Yeah, I was going to say it'll be too much. People will be pushing back. There's too much sausage.
Tired of Registers.
Yeah. So that's how popular things are going to be. And that's good. That's the way we want it. All right, another win. And this one is the gut check variety that makes you fall in love with a team, if you didn't already. But more injuries, and so now we all just hold our breath because at some point the stockpiling of injuries will affect you down the line. I don't think it will this weekend. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. We can look back and look ahead today. I don't think Boston College is equipped to do much about it. So what's the latest, boys? You guys are out of practice. I am not these days. Do we have anything official to say or not? Probably not.
No, nothing official. But, Mike Norvell did say that he was encouraged by some of the guys doing more than he expected.
Yes.
Look, man, we're coming back from an injury. It's not like a pass-fail. There's going to be gradual process for different guys, and they're all on different timelines. So really, even if we did want to say what we see, which we're not allowed to do, we really don't know what that means. If this guy's doing this drill, this guy's doing these drills.
Correct.
Does that mean he's going to be back by Thursday, or does that mean he's going to be back next week? I mean, we really don't know. But I think just about everybody was out there.
Yeah.
But nobody was like,
how about this,
available.
Ira? I don't think this is a gray area, but not really. I think
try to stay on the good side of the gray area.
It's not even the gray area. I think it's safe to say that all of the injuries we saw on Friday night, none of them look to be season ending.
We don't think so. No.
There you go.
That's the way to play it. Yeah. That's the way to phrase it. Here's why you bring it up, besides the fact that people can all see the injuries and they want to know when guys are going to come back, is that you're in the midst of something that could end up being pretty special. You're 3-0. You'd like to believe that given Boston College's issues with the offensive line, and they lost another guy on that offensive line, it really is staggering. Whenever I begin to feel sorry for ourselves with Florida State, I think BC situation with that offensive line, it's unreal.
Which they had all new starters to start the year.
Yeah, well,
and then they've had injuries.
Yeah, on top of it, right. And they had a guy that was returning who got hurt, non-football related, and he was supposedly one of, if not the best guard in the ACC. And so you lose that one guy that you were getting back from that group, and then you've lost two more since camp opened up. They quite literally are starting a walk-on at one of the spots on the offensive line. So it's staggering what's happened to them. Hey, I don't really give a damn. It's happened to them. It's what's happened. But the point is you can take advantage of that situation and get to 4-0. Where you want to buckle up and say, all right, where are we going to be health-wise when we face Wake, NC State, and Clemson? That the big stretch there, because God forbid you were to fool around and go 2-1 in that stretch or something along those lines. I mean, you really would be in a conversation about the ACC championship. you would start to be in the conversation.
You're saying if you go 3-1 in the next 4 is basically what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna assume a win this weekend.
It's crazy that you do that.
Yeah,
it's crazy that you're doing that.
Yeah, it's maybe.
I mean, it's like you haven't lived this life the last 5 years.
I also assumed a big win in the opener that you wouldn't assume either. I'm just letting you know.
That Duquesne was tricky, man. That's a program.
I'd say BC's a little.
No, I don't think they're that much better right now.
And I also don't. There's a good chance your defensive line is depleted. So the one thing you could take advantage of your offensive line, you don't know. You might not have an arsenal.
I agree with you. I'm not predicting a blowout. I think Florida State at home against Boston College, with the situation they're in,
you would hope
not only is going to be favored, rightfully so, and they ought to win the game.
Yeah, well, they ought to. Absolutely.
Well, beyond the injuries, even with the injuries, even if none of those guys play, you'd have to play poorly to lose at home to that Boston College team.
Correct.
Could it happen?
Yep.
Yes.
Sure, it could.
But it's not what you would expect. And I'm with you. I think what's going to happen over these next 2 or 3 weeks is I think you've got, as you have Wake Forest, then NC State, Clemson, I think you're going to see guys coming back along that process.
And that's encouraging.
And so whether it's maybe you get 2 guys back for this week, one guy this week, and another guy or 2 the next week, and then by the time you get to Clemson, if you can get over these injuries, then, man, you might have your full team in that game. And, man, all right, let's
that's
see
what I
happens.
mean. Florida State hosting Clemson on a ride like this, having won some games, getting your guys back, all of a sudden you're in a position. And I've watched all the Clemson games so far this year, and this is crazy right now to be talking about Clemson. What I'm saying is if you build to that point, Clemson is really struggling on offense when you watch them. Now, defensively, they're still very, very good. But I'm just saying Florida State gets a win this weekend and gets healthier. And then gets healthier again the following week. And, look, Wake right now is struggling as well. It's interesting to watch that team.
And they're going to be coming off of playing Clemson.
That's correct.
Which is not going to be a lot of fun.
Both of their lines of scrimmage right now are gettable watching that team.
NC State will be coming off playing Clemson.
Yeah.
The next week.
Yeah.
So, there's just a lot to get excited about if you can get healthy. And that is a big if. Florida State seems to keep losing guys. So even these other guys coming back, you can't keep having this kind of attrition every time you go out to play a football game where 2 and 3 and 4 guys go down. And they're not like nobodies. They're not your third string special teams. It's your starting tackles. Plural. It is your starting quarterback. It is your best defensive lineman. It is your best rush end.
Your 2 best defensive linemen.
Yeah, time and again.
And I think you going back to this game on Friday, when you talk about why this team is so likable and easy to cheer for, you look at, Duke Cooper was hurt, and Norvell even said that today, like he's been injured. He played, 5 snaps against Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Fabian Lovett didn't play. Jared Verse is knocked out in the first half. Jordan Travis knocked out in the first half. Robert Scott goes down in the fourth quarter when you're down by 7 points. So if you look at the Warchant top 40, that's like 5 of the top 8 guys on the list. Yeah. And you still won a road game where you trailed in the fourth quarter. Like that's the kind of moxie and what for that you haven't seen from this program in so long. And I think that's why they're so easy to cheer for. Is that's not a game. You had every excuse in the book to say, well, what are you going to do? We're just unlucky. But you went and won the game anyway. And that's why I think there's so much excitement around this team. 3-0 is 3-0. That helps. But the way they won that game, when your best players, literally your best players all over the field aren't playing.
And the one thing I would encourage people to, the fans who are listening to this, we have a lot of different levels of fans in terms of like some of the people that listen to this are hardcore. They are on every website, Twitter, nonstop, getting every morsel of information, breaking down the photos of Jordan Travis at the mall and Jared Verse at the boys club trying to diagnose their injuries.
Right.
And then you've got people who are more casual. This is to the people who are a little more obsessive and are doing all the Zapruder film from the preseason availability. Pre-practice. Zapruder film?
Oh, yeah. Did you say, I didn't know. It sounded like you said Zapruder, like you said flea flicker.
Oh, well, maybe it was Brian Kelly talking about it.
Zapruder.
But breaking down the film of trying to figure out whether or not somebody's healthy or not, or looking at the practice reports that we write about. What I'm telling you is we have no idea, even based on what we see, what that means. Like guys can do stuff in practice and then they don't play because there's something we don't know about their injury, or there's guys that don't practice all week and then we're not out there on Thursday. They practice and then they play in the game on Saturday. So I would just ask you to not obsess about what you're hearing or seeing or pictures or guys walking up to practice or videos from the start of practice. There's a lot of time between now and Saturday and a whole lot more time between the next Saturday.
But still log on to Warchant
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
Get on
and you
Warchant.
better do it
Just a buck.
soon. It's
Yeah.
just $1 for now.
For now, you're right.
I don't know, guys. There could be rumblings out there. I mean, we can't speak to rumors.
Well, we can.
But,
There are
well,
definitely rumblings out there.
There are rumblings
that it
out
is
there
going
that this
in.
dollar deal is
Is-
about to be done.
Yeah.
So if you haven't signed up yet for warchant.com and you're missing out on all this riveting programming and writing and everything else we bring to the table on a daily basis, then you're going to want to do it now. It's $1. Make it happen. Warchant.com. Sign up today because, again, the whispers are growing louder.
Yeah, you're right.
They're
You're
turning
right.
into screams, guys.
We tried to hold them off, but the
I
wolves
keep
are at the
telling
gate.
people, no,
Yeah.
keep the dollar
Yep.
deal. But I'm just one man.
Yep.
I can't influence the kind of change that we're wanting here. So what are you going to do? It's probably going to go away soon. No, it's funny that you bring that up, Ira. My son is on a football team locally in town and his school, and some guys came out from the team, and they took a team photo with these players. One of the players is a player that's out, and of course, within seconds, that photo is everywhere. And my son comes home and he goes, "Dad, you're not supposed to say anything." I'm like, "Listen, you don't have to. It's not me that they're worried about." I'm like, I've already got the missive, but whoever's kid is in that picture, which is the entirety of that team, are going to have a conversation about the 3 players that were at the school. And yeah, I mean, you just knock on wood right now so far that of all these guys that are out, like you said, Corey, to start the show, it doesn't seem like that any of the guys that were hurt on Friday night are gone for the year. And that's huge because I think we all at one point had to hold our breath.
On all of them.
So
Literally, when they were all laid on the ground.
punching the ground, you're thinking, okay, this isn't good. And then you look at the replay, of the injury when Verse gets caved in on, and you're like, okay, what else? I mean, and all of them are just accidental, unlucky. I said yesterday on the show that you want to blame the field, you want to blame nutrition and weightlifting, you want to blame. No, man, guys just got rolled up on. It was crazy. They got really unlucky. So the fact that it doesn't look like guys are done for the year just yet, knock on wood, and that they will be back sooner rather than later, you exhale a little bit.
And I think it's a good learning opportunity because clearly some of the guys who had to step up were ready to do that. And in a lot of these cases, backup defensive tackles, those guys are already playing. Malcolm Ray and Jared Jackson and Josh Farmer, those guys are already playing. Patrick Payton has got opportunities to play before, so it's not that rare or not that new. But to see Tate take that opportunity and make the plays he did,
it's just really, really heartwarming, man. I mean that was awesome to see.
And it's good for a guy like AJ Duffy, who has been 3rd team on the depth chart and probably is thinking he's not going to play this year. And that there may be times at practice where you start to drift because you think, man, I'm never going to get in the game. Well, now you realize, man, you might be a play away.
You're a play away, yeah.
He could have been a play away in that game. If something happened to Tate, AJ Duffy would have had to run out there. So I think it's good I think it may have a residual impact. It's a bad thing. You don't want injuries. But the way so many guys stepped up in those opportunities, I think it could be a good message for other guys on the team who are lower on the depth chart that, man, I might get that chance. And they're always told that, but to see it play out.
And also not even, I mean, this is a guy that we knew was going to play and play a lot, but it's almost like Johnny Wilson is like, well, I've got to put on a cape. Like I've got a backup quarterback that needs a security blanket. I'm going to go make every play that I can make. I'm going to go make every play on the field, including drawing two pass interference penalties. That's so huge to see a guy take that next step from just starter and contributor to I'm going to go dominate and frankly win this game. I'm going to go win this game because they can't cover me. And then Trey Benson, too. Those 2 guys had never done anything really that mattered. And both of those guys in that 4th quarter did something that mattered to help them win a game.
Well, and to Ira's overriding point about being ready to step up when your number's called and not thinking you're going to have opportunities, I would suggest to the rest of that receiving core, okay, the secret's out. Johnny Wilson is no longer going to get singled.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when all the coverage shades to him, you're going to get one-on-ones everybody else. And there are opportunities from Malik McClain and Micah and all these guys now.
Pokey.
Yeah, Pokey again, because people see what happens when you leave Johnny by himself, and that's going to be a problem for anybody. So they're not going to allow that anymore. They're going to say, you guys beat me. I know that guy can. You guys haven't shown it, and that's what they're going to try to do. So
do you think Brownlee might have gone to the DC at some point?
Like,
I can't get help. Like, y'all aren't going to help me with this kid at all. Thanks. I got to cover him in the middle of the field. Awesome. This is going to be a lot of fun. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it might have been an adjustment at some point. Do we want to bring up James B. made a comment?
Oh, I didn't see it. James B. I apologize. There's 2 actually comments here. Let's get to it. Ooh. Hello, gentlemen. If Jordan is healthy and medically cleared to play, he should play, correct? this notion of letting him rest and getting Tate more experience just to do so is a little short-sighted. Yes, we should play our best players if they can go correct.
A lot of rhetorical questions there from James B., who's the man. Thank you, James B. Thank you very
James.
much, buddy.
Thanks.
You know that.
Well,
I hope I see you this weekend if you're in town.
I would suggest that, again, that's a call for a doctor because
if Jordan Travis is 68 to 80%?
Well, I would just want to know what the risks are of doing further damage.
Yeah,
I think you can beat Boston College without Jordan Travis. And if it's something where you say, look, he'll be 100% if you give him 4 or 5 more days, I'm apt to give him that because I think you're going to be able to run the ball. You can run all that RPO stuff with Tate where you don't ask him to read a lot. You just ask him to read a defender. He showed he can do that.
To me, though, doesn't that get perilously close? I didn't say that right, and I'm not going to what Jimbo did with Clint Trickett and EJ in the Wake Forest
I'm not
game.
saying don't play him if he's close to 100%. You're just trying to get greedy. I'm saying if there's a risk that he could get further injured because, listen, that stretch of games that we're referencing, you need Jordan Travis, period.
Yeah.
Tate's a nice story. You got to have Jordan Travis against the better defenses that are going to throw a lot of different things at him. And Jordan so far is playing at an elite level. He was playing once again at an elite level when he got hurt against Louisville. That's a kid now that can read a defense, that can pre-snap better than Tate, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I got to get him right for that game. Now, again, let the doctor tell you what they should do in that situation. I don't know. I'm not in that room.
Yeah, I think it totally comes down to that. And that was the first thing I thought. Somebody asked me Monday morning if you would give Jordan time to rest. And my first reaction was the same thing Corey said. Well, wait a minute. Wake Forest in 2011 wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And we all went after Jimbo for that. Well, deservedly so. And you can't say EJ isn't available unless there's an emergency.
Well, that's the other reason we went after him is that he lied about it.
Well, if the emergency is
Clint's not playing
Clint throwing 2 or 3 picks early on.
Right.
So, I think it's up to the doctors. My guess is it will be up to the doctors. If Jordan is healthy enough to play like Jordan, then you play him. If he's going to be limited in some great capacity,
no reason to,
or it could be re-damage it, then you go with Tate. But what you don't want to do, and part of the reason we criticized Jimbo back then, and our argument here would be, what happens if you get in a hole, and now the whole team feels pressure because you're in this hole, and they know you didn't play one of your best players, and now that just becomes an issue. And I think that's why I think you do trust the doctors and what they're saying.
But here's where it doesn't become an issue with the team. To your point, if he doesn't practice this week,
or is limited, greatly
extremely limited, he is not involved in install and doing all of that, then the team knew that he couldn't play. Like at that point, it's where.
But if he does practice all week, and then you don't,
then it's arbitrary. Yeah, that's a problem. But usually this is kind of solved by how much a guy can do in practice. Now again, we may not see when he's out there later in the week. Who knows? And if he is, and he's a go, they're going to start him. I mean, you want to play your best players.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. James, I get the sentiment. I'm just suggesting that if it's 50-50 and a doctor's like, yeah, no, he could do further damage, and if you give him another week, he's going to be 100%, well, then I think you got to do that. I think you would rest him in that situation. But I
think James his contention is there are some people who are very cavalierly saying, oh, just rest him. Well, man, you could lose.
Yeah, this program isn't to a point where you just
that's right. I mean, I think
overlook anyone or just say, we can get by with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, just because you ought to win doesn't mean you will. And again, we don't know that Tate's going to carry it over. I mean, he played very well in the second half of this game. We're all very happy that he did so. It was good to see him have some success. I thought the halftime adjustments and what they did when I went back and watched, they made it very easy on him, which was smart because you don't want to overload a kid who's overwhelmed to begin with. They gave him one read. If the guy's there, you throw it. If he's not, you don't. They also listen, I've said this all along when you put him in the game, I would run him early. Now I know he scrambled for the one, but I would get his legs involved immediately. You want to feel like a football player. Even getting hit, it's okay, man. You can't be out there with bubble wrap on. Get into the rhythm of that. Get hit. Get to where you can use, because he's a pretty good athlete. Use his athleticism. But let's just say he has a couple of tough series here early on. You don't know, is he going to revert back to the kid that has been lacking confidence, the kid that is struggling or has been struggling?
You would hope not.
You would hope not, because this was an opening of the door, right? He now has to know he can make plays in big moments, but you never know.
And especially because it was such an awful throw. It was such an awful throw.
Oh, it was reminiscent of some of the other throws we've seen.
It's a dumb play call. It's 3rd and 26. What do you hand the ball off, run a draw, run a screen?
I was screaming draw.
Don't have him, go to his third read
on the
whatever.
broadcast. I'm talking about it, saying run a draw or a
yeah,
screen.
you can't do that. But for him to come back from that and have the kind of second half he did makes you feel good that even if he does have a couple of struggles, that he would come back if he's even playing. And also, if I feel like if he's playing, there's pressure because he's the starting quarterback, but there's nobody coming in after him. Right. Like, it's his job if he's playing. He knows that. So you can have a couple of mistakes and still go out there and go win a game and make plays. So that, I think there's something freeing about that when you know there's no other choice.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Football at El Jalisco, football at El Jalisco, what a combination. It's a great big celebration. It's football at El Jalisco. I can dig it. Who's playing? Oh, man, everybody. The ACC, the SEC, all the C's, and even the pros. The Bucks, the Steelers, the Giants, the Cowboys. Wow, far out. You bet, man. When the game is on, it's on at El Jalisco with incredible specials on everything from frosty cervezas to salty margaritas. Does Margarita know? Dios mío, not again. The best place to watch the game is El Jalisco. College, pros, Monday night, Thursday night, you name it, El Jalisco is football headquarters. And with 5 Tallahassee area locations, there's probably an El Jalisco right around the corner right now.
He's keeping you comfortable.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Every great construction project, whether it's a new addition or renovation, starts with a plan. At T-Spark, we are excited when our clients contact us to assist with that plan. Through our team of architects, draftsmen, engineers, we can help you with your project's planning and design, potentially saving costs in the long run. Whether you have a residential or commercial project, we look forward to working with you. Call us today or visit us at tsparkconstruction.com. License number CGC 1525336.
Sellers Tile does it better for business owners, contractors, designers, and homeowners. Better design ideas, better quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring, better mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions. And Sellers makes it easier with their amazing showroom and first-class professionals. Maybe it's time to get Sellers working for you on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com for better style, quality, and design. Go with Sellers in Tallahassee. Call 656-8453.
This is Dr. James Ryan Finn at Finn Chiropractic. Wanted to let you guys know, chiropractic doesn't just get rid of back pain, neck pain, and headaches. It can help with sleep. It can help with digestion. Maybe you have pain down your arm. But chiropractic is one of the safest, most natural, most effective ways to get to the root cause of your problem. So if you or a loved one are having a problem, even if you think we might not be able to help, make a new patient appointment today at finnchiro.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com. Because your chiropractor loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
rolling on after yet another victory. And I saw like Corey today with all these throat issues.
You know what, though? I like how you power through.
Like, trying.
You should hit your cough button.
You know,
well, I'm the one who brings us back onto the show. That would have been silence.
Right, that's fine.
Cough button.
Yeah, that would have been tough. Thank you for complimenting me powering through. Yeah.
I thought it in the last segment too. Right? Did you see how we did that though?
I was reeling. I reached down.
I'm using this as a chance to help you uplift yourself. I'm not putting you down.
I've tried to power through sometimes where I feel something.
It's constructive criticism, Corey. Don't get so defensive.
No, I'm not.
I hear it in your voice.
When I power through it, it sometimes sounds like I've eaten a frog. Like literally a frog is trying to get out of my mouth. And so I don't want people to have to hear that. So I try not to power through it because it can be really gross.
Somebody in the chat asked why we're talking about BC like they're Duquesne. We're not. It's just a really depleted BC offense right now. They got a good quarterback. I like their coach. But the bottom line is if you can't block, and we know this as Noles, you really can't do much, series to series. And they struggled for a good bit against Maine. They give up a ton of sacks to Maine. Yeah. It's just they don't have their guys, and they don't have the backups to their guys. So, we know just listen, Florida State's in a kind of a perilous situation, Corey.
There you go. You said it right.
If they end up losing another offensive lineman, knock on wood that they don't, but you've already lost your tackles so far. I mean, we'll see when they get everybody back. Well, we know one of them's not coming back. Bless Harris will not be back this year. But it's frustrating when you suffer injuries, especially if they're hyper-focused in one area, especially one as important as the offensive line. After a while, you turn to kids who just aren't ready to play, and that's what BC's had to do. Now, Florida State, luckily, was smart enough to go out this offseason, and they've been able to withstand some of the attrition. But I just knock on wood, they don't keep losing guys every week.
And then the other thing I would say is, in my previous life, being affiliated with a gambling-related website, there is an axiom when it comes to teams overcoming injuries that a lot of times teams will do that in the moment, but then the next week sometimes there's kind of a letdown because in the moment somebody goes down, star player gets hurt, a couple players get hurt, everybody raises up their level. You talked about Johnny Wilson or Trey Benson kind of raising their level. If they don't do that the next week, then you have a dip down. So I think, and then you're coming back home, you're 3-0, you're playing a team against Boston College who hasn't had a pulse.
No.
Those are reasons to, if you're a fan base that's been burned a lot, what Corey was saying earlier, to be a little concerned that, man, this could be closer than it needs to be, or it could go poorly if all of those things line up, like if they're not vigilant about that. And I asked Norvell about it today, and he said, yeah. He said, we're guarding against exhaling every day. Even if that wasn't the case, it's the nature of the beast.
I will give them permission to exhale about the fact that they're not going to see one of the world's great escape artists at quarterback for the first time. It's sweet Jesus.
Bunch of David Blaine's out there.
It's insane how often. Okay, enough. They survived. Good. Enough of it. That's it. There should be a rule. No quarterback's allowed to run anymore when Florida State plays. But you survived it, and it wasn't always pretty, but you found a way. One thing, and I went back and watched again. I mean, boy, we knew Fabian Lovett was important. We really did know.
I almost tweeted. He's like Travis and him are the two MVPs.
You really realize like they are not anywhere close to where they need to be on this defensive line if Fabian's not in there.
Yeah, and Adam Fuller talked about it yesterday. Talked about the run fits, and I asked Mike Norvell about it today, and he said it was mostly communication things. It was mostly and lack of focus things. So I don't think they don't believe Jared Jackson and Josh Farmer and Malcolm Ray and those guys can. It's not that they can't do the job. And Tom and I talked about this on the Sunday Smash. Like we see Josh Farmer play really well in practices. So it can carry to the field. It didn't in that game. So that defensive line, I think they can play better than they looked. I don't think it's just a total disparity in talent.
Right.
They can play better than they played. They did not play well. The defensive line did not play well in that game.
Yeah, and they can play better than they played. There's no doubt. But there is a drop-off in the quality of player. Fabian's a star, and there's no doubt. You missing that anchor, everybody's got to now suddenly raise that level, and some of them are just not going to get there because that's what Fabian Lovett is. He's a beast.
But I don't think that disparity is going to be constant. I think they can play better than they have played, and hopefully he'll be back soon.
They got caught, too, in a situation where clearly they were playing to contain.
Right.
Yep.
And when you stand up like that and you're not really aggressive, I think it affects every aspect of the game, and you can get hurt in run defense.
Well, you're going to see it when they play Wake, because that mesh point. That's what they have to do.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
The difference is the quarterback isn't going to decide to take it and run 27 yards in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
like
they do some and one moves where he breaks your ankle.
Yeah, Malik, man,
that was a highlight film.
I'll tell you what, though, I felt so bad for Deloach. I mean, I would have been like, really? This is my task?
Yeah.
I got to follow that dude? Ain't nobody in the country going to follow that dude because he's that good. And that first half, he was as good as we've ever seen him, and he's been really good against Florida State. So watching Malik McClain be that kind of special and then still get a win is absolutely huge. And, again, it speaks to the toughness and the stick-to-itiveness and all the togetherness that we talk about with this team. It's exciting because – he played so well in the first half. I was mad about some coverages, but when I went back and looked, there are a couple of throws that you're like, well, that's not bad coverage. That's a guy just making a play over and over again.
And then he regressed to the mean at the end of the game
because he's tired.
He missed some throws, and he's not a great quarterback.
Right.
He's not a great passer.
He's not a great passer, but when you run that much, you're tired.
Yeah.
I think it ball sailed on him a few times in that second half. You saw because he was trying to carry them. I mean, when you have those kinds of runs, I mean, he's carrying the day, but that was my fear going into the game. I kept saying they're going to unleash McClain because they got no choice. You can't lose this game. McClain. Cunningham. You cannot lose this game. So at that point, you have to put it all on him.
But you know what? They lost the game.
They did.
Well, look, and there's an inherent pressure when you're Cunningham when you're having to face Tate Rodemaker. It's a quarterback battle, and you don't want to get caught up in that. You don't want to because you're not on the same field with him at the same time, but you kind of are. I mean, it's Cunningham, Rodemaker. And he kind of backed down.
I do wish Jordan could have stayed in this game because even though there was a couple of stutters there on the third series, I think it was, he was on the verge of having a huge night. I mean, they were going to incorporate the running game like they did in the second half, I think, anyhow. And that would have freed some things up for Jordan in that second half, man. Think
about how well he's played through 3 games or 2.5 games, I guess, and really has had one run. One run. He had a 20-something yarder against LSU. That's a wrap. He hadn't done anything with his legs, and he's still been that good. Like, wait till, hopefully healthy and playing 100% against, like, the NC States and the Clemsons, where you have to have the full arsenal. And he's a guy that we know can run, but now put this Jordan Travis into that Clemson game last year with these weapons. And if you defend Jordan Travis like they defended him last year, but you've got to deal with 14 now, and maybe 5, and 80's good, and with the way he throws the ball now, like he could light some teams up
if they can protect him. I just worry about the attrition on the offensive line.
Well, and that's my biggest thing when people go back and look at last year. Because if you go to PFF, if you look at Jordan's grades from last year, the only grades that don't look good really are that Clemson game. And there's like maybe one other one. But man, and you'll hear people talk about that Clemson game like Jordan didn't play well. And he had no prayer in that football game.
No.
With that offensive line against that defensive line and those receivers against those they had no chance.
They got 2 games coming up like that, though. The defensive line for NC State, defensive line, and the defensive line for Clemson will beat Florida State's offensive line.
But I think they have better receivers now. That gives you a prayer. You have
without
a chance.
question, and he's a better player. And Jordan's a better player.
Yeah, but the combination, it wouldn't have mattered how good a player he was last year. You didn't have anybody can go open. You have no time.
I agree.
Good luck.
I just don't think they're going to block those 2 teams, so they're going to have to, and Atkins is really good at doing that. So I do think, but that they get away with it right now. Like, I'm so frustrated about the fact that Bless Harris got hurt because they want to put Turntine at guard where he's much better suited, and he's not a good tackle. He's just not. So when I watch that against the teams that can do something about it, we're going to have to scheme around it, which is what they're paid handsomely to do. But those 2 areas are going to be of grave concern.
Hey, at least we're worrying about the Clemson game. Also, how cool is it? And this is something we won't really talk about a lot because now Florida State's on the right end of it. But appreciate the fact, if you're a Florida State fan, that you've got the smarter, more disciplined team now. Because Louisville, that's ridiculous. How many penalties they had?
Turnover in the red zone.
They're a sloppy football team, and that's not about talent. That's not about. I think they're going in the wrong direction.
Oh well, there's no doubt they're going the wrong direction. If this may have sent them down the path to firing their head coach.
Yeah.
Now they've got some wins coming up, I think, schedule wise. But yeah, man, feel good about that because we've certainly harped on when they've been the dumb team that made the dumb mistakes and that always had to start kick or field position at the 10-yard line because of a block in the back on a kick return that wasn't even returned.
Yeah,
just dumb thing after dumb thing. This team doesn't do that as much.
I do. I think everybody has a right to be extremely worried about the kicker because you're going to play a lot of close games.
We don't have to bring that up, Jeff.
Well,
it's not going to come down to kicks. It's not going to even come down to kicks.
Not this week, let's hope. But I do think you're going to have some games that will.
I had a fan in Louisville tell me that he knows Florida State is back now because they don't have a kicker again. Just like they did in the early 90s. Like, you just have a kicking problem. So you know Florida State's back when they're having kicking.
Well, we were really good at kicking the football when we were good again later on.
Yeah, that's just a small finite window.
Yeah,
so it's finite window though. But yeah, back in the glory days, they always struggled at kicker. But yeah, man, that's an issue.
That is an issue.
But we don't have to. Let's
I
not
don't want to dwell on it.
Yeah.
It's just we're singing the praises of a lot of aspects of this team, as we should, with an undefeated start and enthusiasm surrounding the program. They do have one glaring problem there at kicker, and hopefully he comes out of it.
I think you need to be an arbiter on this. I was thinking of this just a second ago when he started talking about guards. As much grief as you give me and he gives me about my Dylan Gibbons take when he transferred.
Yes.
I would say that pales in comparison to my man's
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Johnny
I wasn't going to bring it up.
So you only bring it up. You only bring it up with me?
No.
When I make a mistake and say something, you don't.
Whoa. Johnny Wilson had an awesome game. I praised him.
Back in the spring.
Back in the spring when you're like, he's not any good.
I didn't say he wasn't any good. I said he dropped a ton of passes, which is what he did.
Even in preseason camp, you're like, I'm not sold.
I wasn't sold.
Well,
I wasn't.
I didn't say he couldn't get there.
I
didn't say he couldn't be good. I said he's got to catch the ball.
See, but you're going to let him. You're going to let him shift the narrative.
You're going to try to turn this all around. First of all, you had never.
I wanted some spirited.
You had never seen Dylan Gibbons play a down in your life.
Of course,
and you said there's no chance. There's no chance he could be any good.
That's incorrect.
Well, we know how down he was on him. I said something very specific about Johnny Wilson after watching him, which is that he can't catch consistently, and that was accurate.
Look how
he's catching.
He gets.
No, you trying to conflate your dumbass opinion that made no sense compared to what my specific critique was. That's not the same.
Your critique was you didn't think he was going to be a pro. You didn't think he was going to be a playmaker.
If he didn't catch the ball consistently, he wouldn't be.
But my counter was he's 6'7", and he will get better at catching the ball.
I never disagreed that at 6'7", he could be a difference maker. I said to what degree will depend on how consistently he catches the ball. That's accurate. He's catching the heck out of the ball right now, and I'm celebrating that. What is there?
Yeah.
What is the contention?
Anybody watching this show, and Ira, you're the arbiter. You can't sit there and let Jeff act like he was high on Johnny Wilson.
I was not high on Johnny Wilson.
That's it. That's all.
I wasn't because he couldn't catch the ball.
And Dylan Gibbons had never played at Notre Dame. That's why I wasn't high on him. He had never played at Notre Dame.
No.
That's true. He hadn't.
I watched him before saying something about what he could and couldn't do. I didn't just say he won't be a good player. I said if he doesn't catch the ball consistently, he won't be.
You weigh in.
I think we have to go to a break.
No. We do have to.
Come on,
Matthew's
Ira.
like we have some
Matthew
debate going.
Matthew was telling me we have to go to a break.
Put on your robe like Reese
break.
Davis.
Right.
Put your Reese Davis robe on, man.
Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
Big Ben Hospice is hosting a one-day free retreat for grieving teens from 8:30 to 4:30 on October 27th. Teens that have experienced losing a loved one will be able to participate in activities involving creative arts, music, movement, and more at the Teen Woe Be Gone retreat event. Participants can be dropped off and picked up at Big Ben Hospice and will travel to Bradley's Pond by bus. For more info or to register, contact Katie Kleiner at 850-878-5310 or go to bigbenhospice.org. Following a 17-year-old who was hurt in a crash on North Meridian Road Saturday, a Leon County Commissioner is calling for safety improvements to the road. The teenager went off the road and hit a tree at North Meridian near Summerbrook Drive. The teen was trapped in his truck after crashing and had to be removed. He suffered serious injuries. According to the county, they believe adding light poles for better visibility on the road might lead to even more crashes because shoulder space along the road is already limited. Other safety solutions are being considered. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Clear skies and quiet this afternoon with highs around 92. Winds out of the northeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight, lows around 70. Sunny skies and calm tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 94. Dry with temperatures a bit above average Thursday and Friday, and highs from the low 90s to the mid 90s. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 91.
Having AC issues? Get it fixed now before that summertime heat has you singing the sweaty blues. E&B Heating and Air new customer diagnostic special for just $49.95. We sell the best and fix the rest. Call E&B Heating and Air today at 850-848-0187.
Your next chance to win $1,000 is coming up at 1 p.m. Don't miss your chance to shake the 93.3 Money Tree and see what falls out. Planted by the law offices of Face & Brooks. Come back stronger with Face & Brooks.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
There's a TikTok that's going viral because of a butter softening method. They are putting the Vermont Creamery butter in the waistband of her pants. Give it 5 minutes. You can go and measure out your ingredients, and then your butter is ready to go. You cannot do this in Florida.
No.
Because your pants will be full of butter in 2 minutes. Somebody try it. Post on TikTok.
Unless it says juicy across the back.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
I do have a specific question, and it's been asked in the chat about another receiver that we debated, and I think we were all pretty much on the same page with this one. Deuce Spann. What's the latest on Deuce Spann? Because we had a series of people saying, what the hell, what gives? Because obviously early he played quite a bit.
He's
and
a
people
practice.
wanted,
Yeah, I mean, he's a practice.
so we don't know why he wasn't featured in any way, shape, or form.
He was there. I mean, he was so not he was so not a part of anything that I'm like, man, did he make the trip? Should I have looked at him? But no, he was there. He's in that little cinematic thing that the FSU Football puts out, which is, by the way, those things are awesome.
Yeah,
if you haven't watched
movies,
those.
they are awesome. No, it is a fair question, but I don't know. I mean, I would have assumed that we continued to see that progression with him. Who knows the reason? Maybe there was something. Maybe he didn't have a good week of practice. Who knows? Yeah. But I'm hoping, certainly. I think it's a big deal if he continues to develop, though, to say the least, because we just don't know, in terms of having that complete wide receiving core together all at the same time, just how good that could be.
Well, again, I mean, we talked about it last segment about those games last year where you got dominated up front, and when you had pedestrian wide receivers at best, you had no options. Well, now, man, I thought that catch Malik McClain had the other day was a big-time catch for him. Obviously, what Johnny Wilson's become, we know Micah Pittman can be – he didn't get a lot of action this past game.
Pokey in the LSU
Pokey
game.
Wilson
was great, yeah.
So now you've got a core. I mean, so, and if Johnny Wilson is going to draw a safety, and so you get into – say you talk about the Clemson game where, they had like two guys spying Jordan last year. Like they could do
anything they wanted.
So they've got options, but they were not going to let Jordan run because they knew that was the only thing Florida State could do. Well, now they have to play defense, and you have a guy like Johnny Wilson, and you got to figure some stuff out, and you're going to have to give up something to get something. So now maybe you have chances to make some plays.
Well, and if Winston Wright comes back,
right,
Deuce Spann develops, and that's what I mean. Like getting all those guys out there for the biggest moments of the season changes everything about what you project. I mean, you really would have a fighting chance if they can block it up at all.
Yeah. Do you right now at this point, if Jordan Travis, when he gets back healthy, I think we're all still waiting to see a little bit with Tate. You liked what happened. You're happy for him, but we don't know that that's going to consistently. But when you have Jordan back, I feel like they're going to find a way to score some points, even against the better defenses. They're not going to get shut out.
No, Jordan has made the leap to being a very, very good quarterback. Right. So if you have a very, very good quarterback,
and you have some
you're going to score. Yeah.
So my question now is, how do you feel about the defense against offenses that have not really been lighting it up? I mean, Clemson's offense is not great, but Florida State's defense does not look great.
No, I don't love Florida State's defense. In fact, I was a little worried about it going into Louisville, and I probably a little bit more worried. Renardo Green's playing well. I want to give him credit. He's playing really well. I went back and watched again. He played well in that game.
Yeah.
They don't right now because I guess Duke Cooper's hurt, but he's not playing much, and he's not playing well when he does play. They don't really have another guy that you trust at corner. And, I didn't think the safety play was great in this game either. So
I also think, I agree with you, but I also think, man, that's anything involving Malik was a tough ask in that game.
Yeah, he played well. So the opposing quarterback played really well, and sometimes guys just make plays. That is true. But I am worried about the defense. I think that's the area that every week we go into games, we're going to have a greater concern about. Now, I'm not as worried about it this week, like I said, with Boston College, because they are struggling to block, period. But against some of these better teams that can score, yeah, that's going to be a problem.
And BC does have Zay Flowers, man. They dialed one up to him at least.
I would just double
year.
his ass. There's no chance he's beating me this weekend. Somebody else is going to have to do it.
Don't you think that most games, especially when Jordan's playing, they might come down to what this Louisville game was? You're going to probably have to score in the 30s.
Oh, yeah,
win,
sure.
Which is kind of college football life in general now if you're not Georgia. But you're not going to win a lot of games 20-13 with this defense. And we didn't think this defense was going to be great. We thought it could hopefully be as good as it was last year. And last year was like a top 50-ish the last 8 weeks.
The last 8 weeks of the season.
So if it can stay in that realm, top 50-ish, and your offense has made a leap that we think it's made, then that could be a recipe.
You can win 9
9
games.
games.
Yeah, you can win 9 games. I mean, we're not talking about this
We
team
could
trying to
11
play for
games.
Yeah, we're not talking about this team trying to win a national championship this
Well,
year.
what?
You
don't want to?
No, we can argue about that. I don't
know.
I'd like to win a national championship this year.
You don't see that happening?
I don't. I'm not projecting that. But I do think that with this offense, if Jordan's healthy, and you continue to see Johnny Wilson develop the way that he has, if you get Winston right back for the second half of the season, we don't know. But if you get him, given his experience at the position, and some other guys continue to emerge, like, again, I'd like to see Deuce Spann. This was a minor step back, I guess, since he was very active in the first couple games. Yeah, man, that's a problem, especially because Jordan is so confident. You know, you look at the way he plays. I keep going back to this pre-snap stuff, man. He knows what's coming. He is so confident, and they're confident in him. The game plans are oftentimes centered around his ability to know what he's looking at, and making plays.
Yeah, and I saw somebody ask in the chat earlier just about what do we do? What do we expect different from the game plan if Tate is the quarterback? How much is available? Is as much available?
Not much.
Probably not nearly as much as if Jordan was. But I mean, Jordan's got 3 years as a starter.
Correct.
Parts of 3 years as a starter. But the other thing is, and the one thing with Tate, and again, I've defended Tate since back when the very beginning, because I thought it was unfair they got thrown in that Jacksonville State game. Everything, the narrative on Tate Rodemaker started with the Jacksonville State game, which was a ridiculous situation for him to be in, and I thought the play calls did not help him out. But I still think that one of my biggest concern with Tate, and I said it during the live show, is he has a tendency to not take care of the football. He will turn the football over, and that's in a game like this. I mean,
it's the only way Boston College can be in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So I do need Norvell to be cautious.
But they took care of him in this game.
Yes,
they called it the way they needed to there. Again, I as he gains more confidence, maybe they open it up more. But if you just look at the facets of the offense they ran, that is a lot of RPO stuff. It's very easy. It's a run or a pass. It's based on what the safety's doing, and then you go from there. It's not hard for him. And once he completed a couple of those easy passes, you started to see he was in the game. And I
think that scramble, like you talked about, it's huge. The scramble for that first down is like, look at me, man. I can make plays.
I'm out here making plays on a big stage.
I'm a college football player, and I can make plays.
Well,
and
even
I think
those
that
easy
did everything
throws,
for
just
him.
understanding where you're going with the ball beforehand, not having to make a lot of complicated decisions. Now, obviously, if that's your quarterback for the year, you need him to be better than just a one-read guy. But in this game, I don't think so. And you can have it be that way, and you can say, take care of the football, we're going to win the game. I mean,
could you imagine the dudes on Louisville's defense? Because a couple of them, I'm sure they thought they had the angle on him and never dreamed that he was going to get outside and run for 15 yards. And I'm just,
are you saying he's more athletic than you'd think?
I said it during the live.
Oh, did you really?
Game. I was like,
he
hey,
runs
guys,
a little better than you
thought?
thought?
I say he's a little bit better athlete than you realize?
I mean, Norvell said it yesterday. I mean, it's part of it. He's a gangly, long kid. I mean, he's not like nothing about him looks fast. And so you get Jordan to stop playing. Jordan's out of the game, and then now you have a situation with, wait, are you kidding me? Like, this guy can move?
Yeah.
I mean, they would have no way of knowing that.
Yeah. Well, it's on tape now, Ira. BC knows this kid can go.
Yeah.
Well, to your point, you can use it as a weapon. I mean, he
absolutely.
literally can. It isn't like McKenzie running the read option.
Oh, God, no. I will hesitate. Yeah, that is
right?
correct.
It is not like that.
It's not like that at all.
Right.
Yeah. Imagine that. Yeah.
He could pull it down one time and get 9 yards, and it could change the way they defend.
Well,
I've seen a lot less athletic dudes keep it on the read option.
You remember Boston College here all those years ago?
Slow-footed.
Yeah, it was the craziest, silliest thing ever. That was at the end of Mickey's career, and I was like,
that was a rough one.
Oh, this guy runs a 5.9 40. He's killing us
for 8 yards.
Yeah.
I'm just glad Rodemaker had a couple of throws where we didn't look like complete liars and buffoons like people thought we were from the stuff we said in August. Like you can see there's
I don't
real
know that
arm tap. Trust me, on the message boards, they don't know what they're seeing. They keep telling us he's good. They're trying to get subscriptions.
Well,
they don't know what they're looking at.
Maybe there are people that I still think that's the minority. I think what people would say, and this is fair. Great, guys. I'm glad he's great in practice. He sucks every time he's in a game. So stop telling us how good he is in practice. I get that retort. I don't think they thought we just decided to make stuff up out of thin air.
We were definitely getting that too, which is fine. I'm not going to litigate it.
But what are you going to do on August 14th? You know, it's August 14th. What do you? Hey, Dave Rodemaker looked awesome in practice, and he did. Like, what would you want us to say? But hey, it's not a game, so don't read this. Like he was great in the throw he made, all the throws he made to Johnny. The one in the end zone is a great throw, and it's his second read. But the bomb he hits, rolling to his right, feeling a little bit of pressure, and stepping and throwing a dime 55 yards downfield, man.
I think the bigger thing is the willingness to take a hit in order to deliver a pass. But that's what big boy quarterbacks do.
That's the kind of stuff we were seeing in his manipulation of the pocket. We saw that a few times. We're like, okay, that's real. But then he'd get into a game and just soil himself.
It was, he didn't have the confidence, and then something would go south, and then it would stockpile, over and over and over again. And at some point, if you never have success, it's hard to believe you're going to, even if you have ability, even if you've done it in practice.
You have to think. You don't know, but you have to think what happened in that second half. It might change the course of his career. Because I think after that pass in the first half, he might have been like all of us. Like, I don't belong out here. I can't believe I just hit that guy in the groin with this pass. I can't believe I did that.
But this is where the coaching staff has to be good. Is right here. So that situation in 2011, Clint got thrown in against Clemson, and played well.
Great,
like threw for 300 yards,
threw it all over the line,
and it was like, oh my gosh, that's kind of what buoyed Jimbo to sit.
Clint was a little better athlete than you thought too.
He also was
sneaky athlete.
That way.
Ponder was a little bit
sneaky.
To look at him, you never think
Ponder could run at all.
So, but what happened, I thought early in that Wake Forest game when Clint got the start, is I think he felt good about himself.
Oh, he just started feeling like
So now, and then he made huge mistakes because he was doing things he couldn't do. So that's where you need Tate to be like, okay, that's awesome, but this
is what we're doing this week, guys.
This is what let's focus on what we're doing and what we can do well. If he's the guy. Now, we don't know. Jordan could end up playing. But
if he's the guy, you want to run the football. It's a chance for your offensive line to smash mouth this thing. I thought late in the game, you saw them do a really good job, man on man, driving guys off the line of scrimmage. I think you play to that strength and then go from there and throw off a play action. You boot him out quite a bit. You give him run pass options because he is a good athlete.
But throw it up to 14, baby.
Yeah, you simplify.
Throw it up to 14.
Yeah. Well, listen, I would guess if you're Boston College, you're going to try to take that away.
That's what Atkins was like, but it doesn't matter if it's one or two. He's a mismatch on two people too, which is like, well, you don't want to throw into double coverage, but
I was going to say, let's not encourage our quarterback to throw into double coverage here. Let's just, somebody's going to be open if they're doubling there, and I have a suspicion for the short time that's going to be happening. All right, hour number 2, headliner questions forthcoming. Stay with us.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996. If you're hearing this right now and you or someone you know is active military, a veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a teacher, turn up the volume and listen to this. My friend Shannon with Legendary Home Loans has a hometown hero loan program designed to make a difference to those who make a difference. When it's time to buy a new home, he will waive all lender fees for all hometown heroes. That's a $1,600 value right out of the gate. Also, if you decide to use their preferred title company for their closing, you'll be saving another $600. That's $2,200 in discounts right off the top. That's like 20 tanks of gas in your car. And today, more than ever, it's important to save as much money as you can, wherever you can. So if you or someone you know is active military, veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a school teacher and looking to buy a new home, choose Shannon Young, Legendary Home Loans, and ask about their Hometown Heroes program. Call 844-FSU-LOAN or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. That's FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. More than 30 Republican senators are requesting that the federal prosecutor investigating the Hunter Biden scandal be granted the status of a special counsel. Bob Agnew with that report.
In a letter, the senators ask Attorney General Merrick Garland to grant U.S. Attorney for Delaware David Weiss special counsel protections and authorities. Weiss has been investigating Hunter Biden for years amid allegations he traded U.S. political influence for lucrative compensation from foreign governments, including when his father was U.S. vice president. The senators argue granting Weiss special counsel status would reassure the American public the investigation is free from political influence. Bob Agnew reporting.
Also at townhall.com, it's thought at least 250,000 people joined that huge line to see Queen Elizabeth's coffin lying in state in London.
The government's culture secretary, Michelle Donnellan, says officials are still crunching the numbers, but estimate that about 250,000 people joined the longest queue most have ever seen for a chance to file past the Queen's coffin from September 14 until hours before her state funeral on Monday. Many in the queue waited for up to 13 hours, braving the fall chill and spending the night shuffling along the River Thames to pay their respects to the late monarch.
Correspondent Charles Eladesma. New York City lifting its private sector COVID-19 vaccine mandate on November 1st, but will continue to require city employees to be vaccinated against the virus. At least 8 people rushed to hospitals after being injured when an explosion tore through the top floor of a Chicago apartment building. The explosion at that 36-unit apartment building at 9:30 this morning local time. On Wall Street now, the Dow is down 533 points, the NASDAQ off 176. More at townhall.com.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before
Whitten Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Whitten's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, headliner questions. There's some debate here.
He doesn't believe that he ever made that commitment. I told him had people send us timestamps.
Well, I didn't see the timestamps. I would never squelch on a prompt. Well, I probably would.
Welch,
whatever. I like to squelch. Yeah, I don't remember saying anything about beating Louisville or being 3-0.
It was something about beating LSU and Louisville.
Ooh. How about if I switch it
That
to,
sounds like you remembered it right then and there.
that would make more sense.
It does.
How about we could talk about Birch Orthodontics while you work it up? Maybe you work it up here.
No,
you don't have the
lost.
strength?
No, I can't do it now. I can't. And I don't know if I could do it with video on me anyway. I've never done that before. I don't like that.
I think you get in the
like
moment.
singing the Horizon
I
song.
think that would
close
put you in
your
the moment.
eyes while singing Ho, 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 Horizons, and you can't say hour number 2?
I think you could find the inspiration.
I don't think so. But how about this? If they beat NC State and Clemson, you'll get an hour number 2. How's that sound, gang?
Guy moves the goalpost.
That's what I do.
That's who Corey is, guys.
Yep.
That's who that guy is right there. He once told me he had this shirt for me. I was so pumped about it, and I still longingly wait for the day that he finds
it was in
shirt.
his car. I like when he told you. It was in my car.
Sure it was.
I did have it.
It was in his car.
It didn't mean enough for me not to throw it away with all the other stuff in my car, but it was in my car.
You know who we can't move the goalposts on?
That's right. Birch Orthodontics. Solid as a rock, week in, week out. There are no sort of skirting of the responsibility. None of that.
Good weeks or bad weeks.
No,
they're all good
solid
weeks.
as a rock. We thank Dr. Birch Orthodontics, for her continued sponsorship, support of Seminole Headlines. And obviously she's in a good mood these days.
I was going to say, this is good for, listen, man, if people like the back in the day, Matt Millar would talk about people getting their no card revoked.
Oh yeah. Yank it.
And, think about Dr. Birch, Ben from Registers, and our friends at Horizons they joined us in the dark times. They didn't jump on board when we were doing the show in 2013.
Well, they could get in cheap is what they knew.
Well, that's one way to look at it. That's one way. We started to rectify that. But anyway, Dr. Birch, Birch Orthodontics is a huge Florida State fan. Their whole office is great people, great customer service, great orthodontic work. Website is birchorthodontics.com. They'll do a free consultation for you, tell you how they can help you. And then also they have payment plans. They make it as painless as possible.
We got a lot of happy people in the mix on Twitter and Facebook asking questions. So let's get started. Nathaniel writes, I was pretty sure it was the case, but watching that FSU football recap video yesterday, it's really obvious that coaches completely flipped the culture of this team. It looks to me like, to a man, they would do anything in the world for him just the same as he would each of them. At some point, the injuries could be too much to overcome. But that culture should be sustainable and very desirable to recruits and transfers. With the hot start, I now think as long as they can scratch out 4 more wins, there's a shot to double down and keep the train moving. As of right now, what's the most likely 4 additional wins in your minds? What are the least likely? And he did hashtag hour number 2 the way you would do.
The way
Yawa. And he also hashtagged, because it is the great Nathaniel Hornblower, no pity sausage needed.
No.
Nice. Congratulations. Congratulations on that.
Pity sausage is such a thing of the past.
No more pity sausage. Lives everywhere are elated.
Real quick, though, I did want to say on that, I want to correct one little thing. It's not just that they're playing hard for him. I think Alex Atkins explained this to me a year ago in an interview we did at Warchant, that they have to care about each other first. That has to be the biggest thing. So it's not just they love their coach, it's they really love each other. I mean, it's not just about the coach.
It's when players take ownership of the team. It's nice if they appreciate the coaches.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
nice
they do.
if they care about them and know that they're cared about, but they have to love one another without question.
4 most likely wins. I mean, Boston College for sure.
One of them's this weekend.
You would think Louisiana.
Louisiana is
Georgia
another
Tech.
one.
Georgia Tech for sure.
is another
Georgia
one.
Tech might be number 1 on the list.
Now, number 4.
You know what? I'm going to say Wake Forest. I don't know, man. I'm going to say Florida. I'm going to say Florida.
Okay.
I do not see that team with that quarterback coming into Doak and winning.
Seems unlikely as we sit here today. It's a weird world, though.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
a weird sport.
Week to week, who knows?
They've got look. I'm gonna say Wake is less likely than Florida just because they have a better quarterback.
Yeah, they've got a very good quarterback.
I don't know. Is there somebody else I'm not thinking about?
I mean, Syracuse. That's Syracuse.
Syracuse.
That's a tough.
They're 3-0 now.
They're playing.
That team believes in itself.
No, I actually am a little. That was a win I had chalked up before the year that I'm not going to assume at all now. I mean, we could lose to
a little
Wake.
smoke and mirrors there a little bit.
I don't know, man. They've looked good, and they also manhandled Louisville. I don't. We'll see. I think you're on the better path when you say, believe it or not, Wake or Florida.
Yeah. I must right now. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this morning.
They're all winnable. They're all winnable. No, I don't think they're going to go 12-0, but God, they're all winnable. There's none of these games on this schedule where you're like, no chance.
That's fair.
None. No
that's
chance.
Fair. In a vacuum, that's right.
Yeah. One way. I like to take it one game at a time, 1 week at a time.
People should think about that. I like that you do that. You should espouse that to the team.
Because so many teams just like to play 12 games at once.
Every time.
12 games at once. I'm like, no.
Guys, we got one this Saturday. We don't have 2. We got one.
One game.
It's this one.
It's Boston College.
Yeah. You can't play the Syracuse game on the BC week.
I wish more coaches would think like that, or any would, because it's just me.
You've got a forum here. You're putting it out there, and it'll catch on.
And I'd say that's
just like
your
iron sharpening iron caught on.
Iron sharpens. That caught on a lot more than I would have ever imagined.
We named the easiest 3 very quickly. Obviously, Georgia Tech is.
Well, who's going to be head coach at Georgia Tech when that game happens?
Dion.
Either one of you. I mean, yeah. So that's an interesting situation. That's an easy situation there for Florida State.
Jerry Glanville's still alive?
Is Jerry still? I think he is.
He has some good guys in Atlanta. I'll look that up. I probably should know if he was.
I think he is still alive.
My money's on dead.
He lived a life, man. He is dead.
Did.
He's alive.
No, I don't know.
He's alive. He's alive.
Okay.
Yeah, Director Matthews says he's
so
alive.
he might be.
Sorry, Jerry.
Head coach.
Yeah, Jerry's alive. He's somewhere clueless, staring up at the ceiling, but he's alive.
Another white Jerry.
Yeah,
yeah, they're everywhere.
I'm going to say, oddly enough, Wake Forest.
Okay.
Wake, they do not look like the same team from a year ago at all.
Yeah.
It's been.
I just really wish you knew if your best defensive line would be out there. I think
it's hard to predict about the wins. Period.
That's
when you don't
it's just
know.
hard with the injuries. That's all. But man, if you had your full slate of players, I would feel very comfortable about that Wake Forest game.
Adam writes, what's with Norvell's golf shoes on the sideline? Is he trying not to slip on the sideline or just always ready to sneak in a quick 9?
That actually was uncovered by a friend of the program, Paul Thomas.
Yeah.
Who actually tweeted about it. He saw the picture on TV and it started a little uproar. Some people were getting mad. Why are you picking at our coach? And I don't know, man. I think it's a preference, but apparently several coaches wear those golf shoes as opposed to wearing sneakers, which I get it kind of. It's like,
why do you not want to slip or something?
You don't want to slip, right? Okay. Well, and the grass
he runs a lot too.
The grass is dewy in the evenings. You know, I could see.
You wouldn't want him running down to celebrate Trey Brinson's run and slipping and falling on his butt.
Butch writes, hello, boys. From all the injuries this past weekend against Louisville, which one concerns each of you the most in the this weekend's game against Boston College? You boys rock. Thanks, Butch. Appreciate the compliment.
Like assuming if somebody's not available.
Yeah, if of all the guys that went down, if somebody's not available,
I'll go with Jordan Travis.
Yeah, I'd go with the quarterback.
That's an easy one.
That's me, buddy.
Verse is close though. Verse is a close number 2, but I would go with Jordan Travis.
Blair Big Smooth Minix writes, which one of you thinks you could beat Dabo in a foot race? My man puts it all on the line running down that hill, doesn't he? I'm ready for him to blow a knee. That's going to be funny when that happens. It's going to happen.
Yeah, well, yeah, and he's going to fall down 30 feet of hill. Like it's going to happen midway through that run. He must stretch like on the bus, right? On the bus ride over. He must be stretching.
Do you think you could take him?
No.
Man, he
played receiver in college.
He was a D1 athlete. Yeah. I know he was a walk-on, but he still was a D1 athlete.
He was, and a former receiver. You're not beating him.
Yeah, and I'm only like 5 or 6 years younger than him. So
Are
it's
you?
not like he's got to be in his 50s, right?
I would think. I don't know though. I haven't looked.
I mean, I'm I'm in the best shape of my
But
life.
you were never fast.
No, I was. Look, here's the thing again. I was sneaky fast. I was sneaky quick. I was faster than you thought. So I was a 4.8ish. I think I still break 5 in the 40. And I think that's where Dabo is. I think it'd be a great race.
I'm gonna bet on Dabo.
I mean, probably. He's got a longer stride.
Yeah. I don't think I could beat Dabo now. I'm going to tell you that now.
Could you beat me?
I don't even know.
Zyler in the chat asked about Norvell versus Dabo. That might be a decent race.
That'd be a good race.
Norvell's got him by 12 years. Norvell was a wide receiver too. Norvell's got him. Yeah.
Norvell's got him.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so Sean writes, and I understand this because it's not all roses right now. I mean, there are some things to criticize, so Sean's going to lead us down that path.
But there are plenty of roses.
That's true. I'm going to agree with Ira and give this to a culture win. I'm also going to agree with him about the vanilla play calling and kicking the field goal at the end of the game. That doesn't do anything for you. These in-game decisions continue to be alarming and will eventually hurt us down the stretch, I'm afraid. Well, I criticized him. So did Tom. So did Ira. So did any number of people.
I wasn't leading this charge. I agreed with Tom and you and Tom.
We were both upset in the moment. He was playing for that field goal with a kicker who's right now shot with confidence. I mean, no confidence to speak of. Also, it still just is at that point, you've got a quarterback making plays whom you've trusted to make some plays prior to that during critical situations.
Yeah.
And
you've also got an unguardable dude out wide that they don't have an answer for.
Yeah,
they're either interfering with him or he's catching the ball.
There's a lot of reasons to go for it there and to play to the 4-down territory.
I don't even think the question is kicking the field goal or going for it on 4th down. It's what you did on 3rd down,
right? Particularly
or 2nd down too.
But that's what I mean. He was playing to get the field goal.
2nd down I could live with. The reason I wasn't that upset about first or 2nd down was
because you thought he was playing for 4 downs.
They've been running well, and I thought he was playing for 4 downs.
Me too.
Making them burn timeouts if they were gonna if they felt the need to burn a timeout. You make them burn a timeout.
But once you get to 3rd and 8, that's where I'm thinking. Okay, you're gonna throw a jump ball to Johnny, or because look, you can sit there and say the one thing I would say is it could have gone bad. If you drop Tate back and there's a strip sack or something, there's things that could happen.
But you're not going to call a play like that.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, so I understand the point that it's not like nothing bad could happen. But I'm talking about, man, a too quick. I mean, you're throwing the fade, and if they pick it off in the end zone, it's the same thing anyway. And the other part of the equation that we would enter that maybe fans don't. Wasn't a good week of practice for the kicker either. So, we know that, and he knows that.
Well,
so
he hadn't been good in the game either up to that point.
So,
I mean, there was no.
So, and the benefit of going up to 7 was not that big of a deal. It's still a 1-score game. So that's all the reasons. But again, I'm not killing him for it.
It is something he's got to get better at, because I also thought he kind of shrunk down on the goal line. And I'm not running a jet sweep to Micah Pittman from the 1, and I'm not running Wyatt Rector out there without a push behind him. But there's just a couple mistakes down there inside the 5. You're like, come on, man. It's a little frustrating.
That's one thing they do a lot of smart things offensively. But I've never understood that since they've been here. They never do the put 2 or 3 huge dudes behind the guy taking the snap and everybody push.
They did
it's legal.
Travis against Miami when they finally got in the end zone.
But
it was Corbin that was pushing him in the back. But
it could be linemen.
It could be giant ass dudes who you have here. And if you're going to put Rector in that situation, he's also a strong guy. Let's go. What are we doing?
Yeah. I will say this though: the play to Pittman, if he runs wide, it's a touchdown. But he didn't. He kind of cut it in. But it was I get it.
You're going to get blown up on that play anyhow because there's frustrating. It's not an unfair criticism.
Yeah, especially the end of game with the setting up to go up 7 when a 1st down wins the game, and you've got a guy they can't cover. And I don't think anybody would have had a problem with him throwing an incomplete pass if it's to John. You're like, well, that's the right thing to do because nobody's expecting him to make this kick anyway. And so I don't think it would have. Hindsight's 20/20, but in that case, I think it was. Well,
we were all first guessing.
Yeah, it was foresight.
I was texting with you and Aslan
before
the play.
You can't run him out here for this kick.
No, we were all first guessing, screaming it like, no, this is not it. This is funny. Why is it that kickers can't be yelled at? This is from Mike. Every other player on the field yelled at by their position coach and head coach. Maybe he needs to be yelled at for all this piss poor play. Doesn't hurt quarterbacks or cornerbacks. I think he's projecting his frustrations there, but because the psyche is already fragile, obviously, for this guy. Kickers are unique, not real football players.
The thing
can't
is,
handle these kinds of things.
What I would equate it to for people, because none of us have kicked field goals in a college football game, so none of us can relate to it. But it's very much seems like a golf swing when you're not doing well.
Oh, yeah. I brought it up. Yeah. When you're helpless off the tee and you got the yips, and you've got to go hit in front of people with money on the line. All things I've had to do, it's a bad feeling. I would have looked like Fitzgerald.
And imagine if Tom Lang is screaming at you, "Fix your swing, you idiot! Quit spraying it to the right, numb nuts.
He's got a skin on this."
Yeah. No, I know. But see, every golfer has been in that position, even the really good ones. And so they never say anything to another golfer because they've been there. That's just sort of
also there aren't
a toughie.
Woodson is a DB, a former DB, is a DB coach. He doesn't have a kicking coach. What is Papuchis going to say?
Nobody does. No college
that's
football
what I'm
team
saying.
has a
I'm saying there's no kicking coach. So what is Papuchis going to say other than make it? Just those two big yellow poles, get it in between them.
Make the damn kick.
Just please kick it
I'm going to say it louder each time you miss.
I will say this. Our guy had a good day today. 88
I
had a good day.
I don't care.
He had
It's
a
like
good
Rodman.
day.
I don't care.
Nobody cares, Ira.
Stop bringing up these practice moments, Ira.
Had a good day, buddy.
How do I know you're not making it up to get more subscriptions?
Yeah, the Fitzgerald bump we're going to get.
We're going to go from 11,500 to 13,000 people. Hey, I'm hearing Fitzy's making some kicks.
A 42-yarder.
Island Chief donated some money to the cause, and we thank him for that. Appreciate you. He writes, Rodemaker went out there and at least presented as confident. Big change from Duquesne. Is the Fitz fix just as simple? No.
I think it'd be nice if he made one.
Yeah.
But I mean, like
Norvell,
maybe that would do something for his confidence if he split the uprights at home and he heard people cheering for him. Maybe. You got to see it. You go through the big yellow posts. If you kick one through those big yellow posts, I think that'll give him a little confidence.
Let me ask you guys this. So to that point, I mean, obviously, if he makes some kicks, he might garner some confidence at some point. If you're, let's say it's 14-0 Florida State, middle of the second quarter, you're dominating their offensive line as everybody else has. They don't really look to be a threat. And you have a 4th and 1 at their 25.
No. Nope.
Would you roll them out there?
14-0?
Nope.
14-0, second quarter.
Nope.
Controlling the line of scrimmage.
Go get him, 88.
No.
Go get him.
No chance. Because
go get him.
When are you're not going to get a chance?
Plus, I think a 40-plus is better than a 35 because he actually has to kick it.
I'd rather roll him out there for a 54-yarder than a 42-yarder.
Okay, fine. So my point is the same. 4th and 1, 4th and 2, where you would normally be aggressive and go for it there. You say, all right, we're in control of this game.
You're screwing with the football gods. You
what's the number got to be for you to do it? The kid better kick.
4th and 6.
No, I'm saying 21-0.
No. I don't think you ever kick from this moment forward on a 4th and 1 inside the other team's 20, 25 yards.
I'm saying to try to get this dude's confidence where it needs to be.
Go win the game. If it's 35-0, sure. But if it's 14-0,
okay, so I knew there was a number. I was trying to get to the number.
I thought you meant a number for the distance. No, I would not. Yeah, 35-0, but 14-0 is still a game.
But going forward on every 4th and short is going to help the confidence.
Oh, I don't care about his confidence. I'm trying to win the game first.
Yeah,
and you're not. That does not help you win the game.
I just want to know what the number was for you to feel comfortable enough to roll a kid out there on a play that you would otherwise and statistically should go for.
Yeah.
When would you decide? I want to see if he can make a kick here.
4-score lead.
Although it's weird because if you rolled him out there 4th and 1 from the 25 up 4, he would know what you were doing.
Yeah.
You're testing.
And also,
at some point, kid, you got to make a kick.
The crowd would boo. He'd get booed when he misses it.
No, he's not going to get booed.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
I mean, I think they're booing the decision.
There could be some groaning. But
I think there could be booing the decision. Like, that's what you get for kicking a field goal on 4th and 1, like Jimbo did in that North Carolina game where Aguayo kept missing field goals.
Kyle, this is funny. It harkens back to the early Jeff Cameron Show days way back. Well, it's not that long ago, I guess. But he writes, gentlemen, with all of these key players up in the air with uncertain injuries, can the Tate Rodemaker Needs Our Help campaign start? Which I did for Sean McGuire all those years ago. I started a Sean McGuire Needs Our Help. But I'm not going to say that. Tate played very well in that second half. We won't have to rally around him in this game quite like that. Now, if Tate's still starting when we play NC State and Clemson, then maybe we start the Tate Rodemaker Needs Our Help campaign where everybody's on board.
I feel like Norvell was trying to make that point a little bit Monday in his press conference, talking about he needed a great crowd. It's a home game. It's a Saturday night. We're finally a dope for a month.
Should be a great crowd.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. But I think he was like challenging, like, hey, we might not have everyone. We're going to need you guys to be a really big factor here. And don't just show up assuming we're going to win, or don't just not show up at all because we're 3-0 and they're not very good. We need you.
Quick one here before I get to the contribution, and we have to take a break, but I want to get another question in. Zach writes, another story this week is Tate, but can we talk about the continued growth of Jordan Travis so far this year? He looks to be in total control of this offense. That throw to McClain in the corner of the end zone was silly. Through 3 games, where would you rank him amongst the other ACC quarterbacks? I think he's been the best ACC quarterback.
Yeah, because the NC State hasn't been great.
I think
on
he's
offense,
been the
have they?
best quarter. No, they haven't. They've been good.
I mean, I like what I
Van
saw.
Dyke's been terrible.
I liked what I saw out of Van Dyke. But yeah, 27 first downs. Are you kidding me? He just went up and down the field.
You want to have fun? Go look at the targets for Miami receivers and the catch percentages. They can't catch.
Yeah.
That receiving course sucks.
But he does not look very comfortable.
Well, he looks
either.
uncomfortable
It's
without
bad
Lashley,
combination.
but they can't catch the ball at all. It's funny. There's guys on there that had like 7 targets, 2 catches. You're like, dude, catch the ball. It's silly. Anyhow,
yeah, he's up
seriously. Jordan looks like so far. I mean, it's early in the season. I haven't seen anybody play better than Jordan Travis, a quarterback.
And he
in
was
this conference.
coming into the season. He was supposed to be 7th-ish.
Yeah, 5th, 6th, 7th, somewhere in there. Yeah. No, I mean,
good for him.
I guess maybe if Malik Cunningham hadn't gotten scored 7 points against Syracuse, he's had a couple nice performances. The second half of the UCF game, game, he was very, very good.
But this also shows how quarterbacks are judged based on what they have around them. Florida State's improved their team. Louisville's team is not as good as it was a year ago, so that helps. But then also, you've had some weird situations. Sam Hartman being hurt for a little while.
Yeah, and Leary's offense at NC State has not been great. It's been interesting. Their defense is good, but I don't. They've been a little uneven on offense. So yeah, I'd say Jordan. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Imagine for a moment that you are completely weightless with zero gravity. All of your worries and stress melt away. Your mind stops racing and you fall into a profound state of pure relaxation. This is available to you right now at Tallulah Delta 8 Plus Floating in Railroad Square for just $50. These state-of-the-art floating pods are unlike anything else you've ever experienced. And while you're there, you can shop for some of the latest and greatest CBD and Delta 8 products on the market. Natural pain management, stress relief, and better sleep are all at your fingertips at Tallulah. Tell them Jeff Cameron sent you and thank me later. Hey, Nole fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Football at El Jalisco, football at El Jalisco, what a combination. It's a great big celebration. It's football at El Jalisco. I can dig it. Who's playing? Oh, man, everybody. The ACC, the SEC, all the C's, and even the pros. The Bucks, the Steelers, the Giants, the Cowboys. Wow, far out. You bet, man. When the game is on, it's on at El Jalisco with incredible specials on everything from frosty cervezas to salty margaritas. Does Margarita know? Dios mío, not again. The best place to watch the game is El Jalisco. College, pros, Monday night, Thursday night, you name it, El Jalisco is football headquarters. And with 5 Tallahassee area locations, there's probably an El Jalisco right around the corner right now.
Hi, everybody. It's Ed Dean, Florida's #1 statewide radio talk show, now in Tallahassee afternoon drive from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on Real Talk 93.3 FM. Yes, highly entertaining, fast-paced, never boring. We always give you the story behind the story when you catch the Ed Dean radio show. And we are ready to go. Tallahassee daily, 5 to 6 p.m. It's the Ed Dean radio show on Real Talk 93.3 FM WVFT.
Hey, this is Greg Tish. Here's something you might know about me. I don't drink coffee. I have never had a cup of coffee in my life. Well, that is until now. So why change now? Well, it's because my dear friend at Grassroots Coffee reached out to me after hearing me say that and insisted that I give his product a try. I've been making a huge mistake. The world of coffee is fascinating. I always thought coffee is coffee, you know? No, it's not. I have tried their coffee and it is fantastic. Now, I've got a fascination with learning more about the best coffee in our area. Grassroots Coffee is locally roasted, locally owned, and locally loved. You can find whole bean Grassroots Coffee on the local aisle at Publix, also in Whole Foods. But the best way to get this black gold is to order it online. They literally grind the fresh roasted beans to your preferred level, bag it, write the date on it by hand so you know the exact day your coffee was roasted. It doesn't get any more fresh than that. Order yours now. Just go to grassrootscoffee.com and choose the coffee you want and how you want it. And join me. Let's step up our coffee game together and also support a great local business.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Over to Twitter. Let's keep it going. Rapid fire. David writes, by how much would we have lost the Louisville game in previous seasons? By a lot.
Ooh.
By a lot.
I thought they were going to get blown out this season, which is bad on my part. But
no,
I mean, I saw
understand
that
why
pass.
you would think that.
I would say by
21 at least.
Yeah.
35. I mean,
they were going to lose bad in previous years. That's correct. Mark writes, Mike Norvell is currently 11-13 at FSU. When does he make it to 500? And does he ever make it to 600?
That's
500 against Wake.
That's too much math.
Yeah, I got to figure out the math.
So
500 against Wake.
500 against Wake. So the problem is, and it's kind of a fun question, if he doesn't get the Wake game, he won't get there this year, will he?
Oh, he might.
It'll be close. Yeah, it'll be close.
He's 8-3 in his last 11, though.
That's true. Good afternoon, gentlemen, writes Daniel. We came into the season thinking Norvell needed to win at least 7 or 8 games to take a step off that hot seat. With what the team has shown in these first 3 games and the mounting injuries, would he now get a bit of a pass if we only won 5 or 6 games?
This year, like 5 or 6 total?
If they only win 2 more games, I don't think he's getting a pass.
Yeah, not with BC and Georgia Tech, and because they all have, every team has injuries. Now, look, if Jordan Travis had been knocked out for the year, then yeah, maybe get a bit of a pass there.
I don't think he.
But even then, you're like, well, why?
It was reasonable. I don't know that he would because there were enough people mad that he didn't go out. And
But
get a
I think
quarterback.
you've seen again, like we see with Rodemaker, like you saw the ceiling, like what we had seen. You kind of see the Norvell effect, and you should be excited about it. If injuries end up just keep cascading, and the season gets away from you because you just don't have
You don't have
guys,
the bodies. Yeah.
I feel like you get the benefit of the doubt now because of this start.
It was
And because
important to
you're
win
8-3.
games early. We
Yeah.
said that before the
And
year.
You're 8-3 in your last 11, man.
And they weren't fluke wins.
Right. Prober writes, what do we have to do to get an hour number 2 out of Ira?
Oh, man.
What would that be, Ira? New Year's 6 game?
A lot of Don Julio.
You wouldn't do it? I mean, I feel like there's got to be some. You've got to have just throw something crazy out there. 29-game winning streak, break 30 games.
Garrett writes, who was the last FSU player to go from 0 to hero the way that Tate did on Friday?
Yeah, that's a really good question because I don't know if you guys noticed on Twitter and then on the message boards and stuff, but people didn't seem to be a big fan of Tate.
Not a lot of
halftime.
confidence
No.
in Tate. No, it seemed to be
I mean,
waning.
I was steadfast in my belief in that kid.
I remember it was a series of tweets at halftime. You just wait. Wait till you see
what
this kid in the second half.
He's about to be unleashed. Yeah, man, I can't think of anything that comes to mind that was like that.
Did we have a sorry ass kicker that made a big one?
Oh,
Not
you know,
really.
I got it. Case and Beatty.
No.
Case and Beatty's first 3 years.
Well,
so then when he became,
he was debt.
Yeah,
he was
Remember that?
dead.
He was debt.
But he's a punter.
You got debt.
I wouldn't
Everybody's
say
got
that.
debt.
I wouldn't say
If
that
it was a
eclipsed.
different,
I wouldn't say that eclipses.
I'm
what
not.
Tate
I'm
did.
just saying the
No.
last time somebody that
yeah,
did
he had a
something- I mean,
huge season.
I mean, it wasn't like just like people didn't think he would be good. Like they were.
Oh,
why is he going out there? And that's what led to Jimbo calling him dead.
Well, and I do remember.
Kind of gets into personal hatred at some
Yeah,
point.
it did. People did not like Beatty. That punt he had in the championship game, people were through with him.
But then he became.
Well, and Jeff,
good.
you didn't believe in Dalvin his first year here, right? You kept saying.
I
You
mean,
remember that? We had
oh
those
my
arguments
gosh.
back then.
Oh,
You're like,
my
I don't see it.
Oh,
I don't
my
see it. This
goodness.
kid keeps dropping the ball.
He was the original Johnny Wilson.
That's what it was. You know who didn't see it? Jimbo. You kept running out the
Yeah,
wong running
Mario
back
Pender.
until he got hurt
Little Mario Pender
against
for that ass.
Syracuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't Mario Pender just have a big game for App State or somebody the other day? No, I'm just saying. Kalen Layburn and
Anthony
there's like
Grant.
3
By
running
the way, you know,
Anthony
Anthony
Grant,
Grant's on that poor Nebraska
Damian
team.
Webb is for
Damian
South
Webb
Alabama.
and Kalen Layburn. They got 3 backs out there just killing it.
Yeah. So Tommy writes, so far how this, well, he's got a money sign for, I don't know if that's Tommy or Timmy. So far how the season is going for around the ACC, do any of you guys see a for sure L heading into the season being puzzled? Oh, yeah. So a game we thought was for sure going to be a loss before the season that we now look at as a W.
I don't think at least I
just
didn't.
in conference play or in general?
Well, just the whole.
I don't know.
I don't think we saw a game on the schedule
Right.
where you're like, they have no chance. Because
no,
of what,
but we did predict losses.
Sure, we all predicted
Clemson's a loss is what we
8-4.
said. Yeah.
But I mean, Clemson was like a 60-40, not a 50-50. You thought, but Clemson, I mean, you almost beat them last year. So none of these games in a vacuum by themselves do you look at and say no chance.
But when you had them at 8-4, what were your 4 losses?
Yeah, well, exactly. That's
I would say Miami. To me, the big ones I would say is Miami and Florida were games that I thought were probably going to be losses, and I think they could easily win them. If they have Jordan Travis, I think they should win both of them. The way Miami looks right now, Miami might look different in November.
Probably
I don't think Florida is going to look different in Miami. I don't think that kid.
You're down on the gate.
Golly,
man.
I mean, have you seen him play quarterback?
I did, but he also won the game against Utah. He was nuts.
Come on.
Listen to me. Listen,
he won the game against USF. He did what he had to do. He dug deep.
He's looked awful each of these last 2 weeks, and I hope he sucks the rest of the year. I'm just saying we've seen evidence that he doesn't always suck. So who knows? We're 9 games away from playing that game. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, he could be better. I hope you're right. I hope he's devoid of confidence and there's nothing going for him. But he's looked bad before and then looked good. What's the prognosis on Verse? Is a question we have. We don't know. Doesn't appear to be out for the year, so we'll just wait and see.
Say it like that.
Ryan writes, do you think Tate has all the head-scratching moments behind him and has the confidence moving forward to continue solid quarterback play?
We're not sold on that, right? It was 6 completions. So let's see. Let's see if he does play this week and he starts the whole, he gets first team reps and plays on Saturday. Because that's a whole different deal than being thrown in.
Well, and the reality is the throws he made, we all knew he was capable of making those throws.
Right.
A lot of the fans didn't know he was even capable because they don't see practice. We knew he was capable. It was just a matter of transitioning it to the game. We still don't know for sure. We don't have enough sample size to know that he will consistently not make mistakes.
It's good to know for you guys because we had seen it, but it's good to know that for you guys that it's in there somewhere. Now, whether it ever appears again, we'll see.
So William asked the question that I brought up in the first half of the show, which is why there is a knee-jerk reaction and a frustration and a counter to all this mounting injury talk, and that is there something that we're not doing that other programs are doing? William, there have been years where I thought you needed to look into your strength and conditioning program. This isn't one of them. These injuries have all been, you can just see them on film. You can look at the injuries. They're guys getting rolled up on. They're guys just having a bout of bad luck. And sometimes it's the way injuries are. That's why we call it injury luck. I mean, some teams go through an entire season and lose like one guy. Others lose 9. I mean, there really is nothing to it, I don't think, in this case.
Someone in chat said the right answer on 0 to Hero was Andrew Parchment. Andre Mestre said that in the chat. That might be right.
It's not a bad one.
Nobody was
for a
down
singular
on,
game.
Yeah, nobody was down on Parchment. It wasn't like everybody was killing Parchment, but it was like, okay, well, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, there were people, and I'm not saying we're excluded from this, that thought Tate Rodemaker didn't belong in a college football game, and then he went and had the moment that he had, only because of the way he had played every time we'd seen him in a college football game. So that's what was like people wanted just the Wildcat. I was thinking they just do the Wildcat. Like I thought, it's just that throw was so bad. That's all. That one throw was so bad.
Although they keep saying he might have got hit, and we talked about the time it was possibly might have got hit.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell on the replay.
Oh, okay.
Rob writes, would you say losing Kenny Dillingham to Oregon was a blessing in disguise? I don't know if I'd go to that extent, but I'm fine with having lost Kenny Dillingham.
Yeah, it's worked out so far.
Does that work for you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think so. I think it's Mike Norvell calling plays, I think, is an upgrade.
I do too. Burke writes,
By the way, apparently he might be on the short list for Arizona State candidates. Dillingham.
Could see that. Possibly. They keep putting up points.
If Oregon wins 8 or 9 games.
But how do you even handle a search in September? What are you doing?
Yeah,
like
well,
Nebraska's
in the middle of it right now. You wait it out, and then you hire Lance Leopold from Kansas.
But my favorite with the power rankings, On3 puts out their power rankings for every conference, and Arizona State fired their coach, and they're not even last in the Pac-12. Colorado is that bad. Like you're behind a
Colorado,
team,
man. Good grief.
You're behind a team that's just fired their head coach.
It's crazy to look at how many once very proud programs are down right now in a way that is, I mean, historically shocking. I mean, Nebraska has been bad for some time, but that team may go 1-11. I did a show last night in Nebraska, and I was talking with their expert who goes to every practice, and he said their schedule over the next 3 weeks, they would have bye week this week, suggest they should win at least 1 or 2 of these next games. If they don't, they could go 1-11.
Let me ask you a question, though. On the flip side of that, and because somebody was bringing it up to me, a friend of mine who was texting me earlier, talking about the polls and whether or not that is important. How long is it going to take Florida State to really get respect?
They win this week, they're in. I'll say
I thought that last week.
No, but I know. But I
and
think
this
if
is not beating Boston College is not going to
But
impress
if you're
anybody.
4-0, you're getting in. And
especially if
should be
LSU, if LSU wins again, then that win looks better and better.
That continues to look better.
Yeah.
I saw one guy write and make some sense about this. He said, hey, here's my AP top 25. Rip it if you want to. He goes, the truth is 20 through 37 is the same team.
Well, that's always the case.
So if you want to take 30 and put them in, do it.
But my point is, and Corey and I were talking about this earlier, and I'm probably going to write something about it. The problem is rosters are so different than they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just go by returning starters or what
That's
teams
correct.
did last year. Teams are completely different. And the problem I have is you go into it with that week, and I've voted in the poll before. You go into it with your week 1 poll, and then you're adjusting from there.
Correct.
Well, no, man, just scrap week 1. Whatever your preseason
pretend
poll
like
is,
you don't know Alabama's got any good players.
throw that away after the first
Yeah.
after the first week, and then the second week and the third week.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to say, yeah, I had that team 12 and they won, but you know what? They're 24 now.
Yeah,
because I watched them play.
So,
but nobody does that.
Here's the argument to your point. Anybody that's watched Florida and
Exactly.
Texas A&M could go, I don't know, guys. A&M doesn't look like they deserve to be ranked.
Yeah.
And Florida, maybe, because Utah's win is a good win. That's a good Utah team. So you might give it to them. But, I mean, you could easily say, well, I'm going to put A&M at 23, and I think they're on the cusp of getting moved out of here. And I'm going to put Miami down at 25.
I mean,
and I'm going to put, you could easily do
Miami's
that.
in the top 25. I mean, if you've seen them play,
You don't think they should be.
and it's
Guys,
not like they were
had
12-0 last year.
They had 27 first downs in that game. I gotta keep coming back to that. They controlled that game. Florida State's game control.
You know what
has
I
been
love?
awful.
You know what I love, by the way? I love watching Cristobal kick field goals. My man loves them. He loves field goals. It's Christmas to him.
That offense is just
Woo. Burke writes, what are your favorite tailgate foods besides register sausage? And your beverage of choice on game day? If beer, what brand? Well, Corey drinks Mio and water and Tito's.
Yeah, little
which is a
vodka.
straight-
Hey man, I'm living my best life over here, dude. Shut up.
I don't tailgate.
But
we
if
never
you
tailgate.
did tailgate, if you didn't have to work this weekend and we were going to tailgate, what would you want? Red Stripe?
Oh yeah, for
Sam
sure,
Adams?
for sure. Red Stripe for sure.
Depends on the game, Burke, and I have tailgated with you before some 20 plus years ago, so I don't know.
And then the
I'm
food is what?
pretty open.
Chili, little chili action.
98 degrees. Let's have some chili.
It's about to be chili season.
Yeah, a couple more months, you could eat some chili.
Yeah, man. Anything. It's all good. Like when you walk through a tailgate lot, it all
Yeah,
looks
you're like, that
awesome.
smells good.
Everything
That's
looks
awesome.
Yeah, even the sandwiches, the pre-made sandwiches that are there. That looks. It's a
I love the
well-made
people.
sandwich.
I love the people who roll out with the Publix fried chicken.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Hey, it's good.
Wilson writes, what's up, big turkeys? Is the game that close if Jordan doesn't get hurt? It's interesting that Louisville seemed to expect FSU to fold. Do they play tougher if JT never comes out? I wonder what you all think the outcome looks like. Hypothetical for that ass was the hashtag.
No, I do like the way the defense responded after Jordan got hurt, specifically at the end of the second quarter. Like Louisville could have gone and put the game away, I thought, especially after that crazy interception. And they buckled down. They made some plays. They got out of there and made it a 1-score game. And then their only touchdown Louisville had in the second half was a 50-yard run by Cunningham, where I thought it was defended well. I mean, what are you going to do? The kid saw a cutback lane. Bethune cut him off. And he's like, oh, I'm just going to put my foot in the ground and go this way.
Yeah, I thought at one point, and I wanted to see him come out of this, and then, I get it. They were trying to keep him in front. It wasn't working. At some point, I was like, screw it, get after him, and then hope like hell your safety can make a play or your linebacker can make a play, but just start getting after him because this sitting here just, it ain't working. But that was really my only complaint.
But I mean, they scored 35, which I would have thought that would have been the maximum they would have scored with Jordan too. Like, and they left points out there clearly because of some mistakes and
missed field goals,
some kicks. But it looks like that's their ceiling is around 40 points.
That is very fatherly. Some mistakes.
Yeah. Missed kicks.
Missed kicks. He missed kicks is what he did. He missed the kicks. They were mistakes.
Nobody feels worse
kicks.
about it than he does.
Jared writes, start the hype train. Say we play well, get to 5-0. What percentage would you give us to get a split with NC State and Clemson?
Ooh, I think there's I'm going to say
neither one of those teams are overwhelming. They're just probably better than you, but not by such a margin that you can't win one of them. Right?
You certainly have a better chance right now to beat NC State than you do Clemson.
If Jordan's healthy, I'm going to say
it's a big, that has to happen.
45% to get
To get one of the two? Well, I think that's a good one. I was going to say 40.
I actually like your percentage. I was going to say 40 as well. Yeah, somewhere in there. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department announced Monday morning that it has made an arrest in a double homicide incident that took place Friday night at Plato's Villas at San Maco's Apartments. When officers arrived on scene, they discovered 2 adult males deceased inside of an apartment. After an investigation, Deontay Green, 24, was taken into custody and charged with home invasion robbery and 2 counts of murder. According to TBD, the probable cause has been sealed as part of the ongoing investigation. This remains an open and active investigation. The frozen meal by Healthy Choice was just recalled. This is especially important for anyone allergic to milk. The Korean-style beef is part of the line of Power Bowls, Texas-based frozen food storage and repacking facility Valley International Cold Storage acquisition said the labels do not have a warning that the meals contain milk. You can find details on the recall at the U.S. Department of Agriculture's website. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by McLemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McLemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Clear skies and quiet this afternoon with highs around 92. Winds out of the northeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight, lows around 70. Sunny skies and calm tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 94. Dry with temperatures a bit above average Thursday and Friday, and highs from the low 90s to the mid 90s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 92.
This is Sister Dot Brown, reminding you to tune in every Sunday morning from 9 to 11 for good gospel music here on 93.3 every Sunday morning. Dot Brown.
Your next chance to win $1,000 is coming up at 3 p.m. Don't miss your chance to shake the 93.3 money tree and see what falls out. Planted by the law offices of Face It Brooks. Come back stronger with Face It Brooks.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pastor Tabner was alone with a female church employee. She in a towel and he in his boxers. The charismatic 41-year-old Hurley explained the two of them had been making chili and gotten food on their plates. With the hot dogs that they were making, we are hoping that the pastor used the right condiments.
I think there was at least one hot dog involved.
I don't know what you're talking about. We were just making chili dogs.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
With so many Victory Sausage sit-in babies after the start of this season, Dr. Birch will be in business for many years to come, writes Andrew. Here's another parallel for that ass. We all watched that 2014 team with churned stomachs as they squeaked by with wins. While this team will not go undefeated, this team is so damn likable, even with the late-game heroics needed to seal the deal. Oh, eminently more likable.
It's fun, man. It's fun watching this team, isn't it?
Yeah. Shaheem Brown just doing things late in games, man, with that right hand. That right hand saved them a couple losses, perhaps.
When you play, to the level of your ability, and you play hard every week, and you pick guys up, they're just
especially think of those, the last few years under Jimbo.
Well,
wasn't always real likable.
The one in between Jimbo and Willie, Norvell, that team wasn't necessarily the most likable either.
Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, Mac Jones or Lamar Jackson. It's a show of young guns and the old guard, and nothing makes these matchups more exciting than having skin in the game at MyBookie. MyBookie has super contests, survivor pools, and a double deposit bonus that gives you everything you need to secure the bag. Getting started is simple. Sign up today. Use promo code WARCHANT, and you'll double your first deposit instantly. That's promo code WARCHANT to double your deposit up to $1,000 with MyBookie. This isn't your grandfather's bookie. This is MyBookie. Put your money where your mouth is and get rewarded for it. Begin your winning season today exclusively at MyBookie. Perfect read.
Well done. Speaking of bets, I made a bet on the Florida State Louisville game.
Oh man,
we don't
want to hear
all
this.
Right, sorry.
Yeah. You need to stop doing that. You're pissing away your money. Tired of it.
I'm not feeling good.
I took Florida State and gave the 2.5.
I feel good about what I'm doing.
I did. Yeah, more questions about this. Oh, yes. Okay. Butch writes, hello, boys. With all the injuries from the past weekend, are you guys concerned at all about the game against BC this week?
It's a Division I Power 5 opponent. So to that degree, yes.
And this team, as much as we love them and love watching them because they are likable and they do play hard. I mean, they've won a game by 1 point and 4 points. They're not crushing folks. So yeah, literally every game left on the schedule is losable. If they play well on Saturday, they should win comfortably.
Except that Florida game.
Well, that Florida game is not losable. They can't. I can't even imagine a scenario in my mind, Ira, where they lose that game. You kidding me?
Mark writes, hello, gents. With our injury luck as of late, should we have protective eyewear for the kids that are breaking the rock?
Yeah, imagine that they lose a kid.
Or maybe just have Robert Scott break the rock each week.
With the goggles?
Yeah. Who would you say is the greatest goggled athlete of all time? Maybe Kurt Rambis is right. Smart. Kareem was pretty good.
And I think Eric Dickerson's number 2.
That's a very good. Yep.
I love Eric.
Yeah.
I love the goggles, man. I wish they'd come back. Goggles are awesome.
I think they suck, but I understand.
You don't like the way they look?
No, I think they look terrible.
I'll give a hat tip to Josh Passner's science middle school teacher face guard.
That's good too.
Terry writes, gentlemen and Corey, have Louisville fans taken the place of Miami fans as the worst fans? Can anyone confirm they were mockingly chanting the name of our quarterback while he was still laying on the ground?
I did not hear that, but
some people have brought it up. I didn't hear it on the broadcast, but you were there. I don't know. You didn't hear it?
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I didn't hear it. Yeah, could be a wild rumor. Much like the dollar deal going away at Warchant. So
if Jordan can't go this weekend, do we actually have a backup quarterback? I mean, if Tate shows up in his former cape instead of his ladder, how long until they pull him and bring in AJ?
I would think it would have to be really bad for really, really bad for that to happen. Just me personally, having watched practice, but that's just me. And I look, man, let's just assume this is the Tate moving forward.
I don't think he's going to play poorly. I don't think they're going to put him in a position where he has to make a lot of tough decisions. I think the game plan might be boring.
And that goes back to the point I made before about Clint back in 2011. As we've seen with Jimbo, we saw it with James Blackman. We saw it with the kid he had last year at A&M. Jimbo's not going to change a lot to accommodate a quarterback.
No. Go out there and get him, kid.
Which you'd like to think maybe Norvell will.
Well, and he did. He did at halftime. I mean, the way they called it in the second half was bright. I think it'll be the same this week. I don't expect them to throw everything in the playbook on Tate's shoulders, and I think it should be enough to get a win. Just hope they stay healthy, and we see signs that they're about to get people back. Mary, we love you, Mary. She writes, be still my beating heart. Regarding rankings, I say fine. Ignore us at your peril. I do have one question. Did the people who do the rankings actually watch the games?
Apparently not.
Or do they just go off of reports that they see on, say, Twitter? I think it's both, Mary. I think some people take it seriously and try to watch as many of the games as they can.
It is impossible to watch them all.
Because you're the team you cover if you're a sports writer or a coach.
Right.
The team you're covering or paying attention to is probably playing around the same time. The one thing I would say, the reason it is important, and again, I'm probably going to write about this, is because there are a lot of things in terms of perceptions that are affected by whether or not you're ranked or not. I mean, Florida State, we know that they've improved, and Kirk Herbstreit apparently, and a few media people are starting to talk about Florida State.
They're starting to beat the drum.
Scott Satterfield knows they've improved.
He does.
So does Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
That validation, Mike Norvell said, we don't need that validation. Well, man, it's not bad for your program to start showing up on that list. And, when people go to college football scores, what comes up first?
Yeah, top 25.
Yeah. You want to be in there.
I really do think they will be.
And everything else.
I really think they will be if they win this weekend, because some more teams will lose and some more teams will look bad. And I think they're already knocking on the door. And you are starting to get more of the national people saying, hey, look at Florida State, everybody, which we kind of first guessed. We said if they win 2 of these, we knew they'd beat Duquesne, but we said if they win these 2 games, they'll probably be right on the cusp of being ranked. Got another Deuce Spann question, guys. We don't know. He's not hurt as far as we can tell.
LSU, Corey made the point earlier, LSU looking decent is going to help Florida State.
That was nice. Them beating Mississippi State, who has a relatively decent defense this year. That was nice to see. I know our defensive line struggles, but as far as our linebackers were spaced, do you feel like we'd rather give the middle rather than our outside zones? So I just think, listen, this is an oversimplification of an answer because we're late in the show. there were times where you could argue about what we were running, but in truth, a lot of what got exposed in this game, besides missing Fabian Lovett, which we do miss terribly, Malik McClain is an elite.
Yes.
I keep calling him Malik McClain. Malik Cunningham is an elite college quarterback and an elite runner.
Yeah, man. He's
he
going to
makes people look bad.
He would make NFL linebackers look bad in open space.
And he's wildly inconsistent as a passer. When he's on, he can really torch a defense. The thing is, he's never on seemingly for a whole game or back-to-back games.
And he just lost to Tate Rodemaker.
So,
sorry, Malik.
There were times where, again, we weren't in the wrong situation there. He just made a play.
And what did Fuller said? There was 150 yards of missed tackles.
And, guys on the other side make you miss tackles sometimes. Other times you take a bad angle. I think early in the game, poor Deloach, who's being asked to do a lot there, took a lot of bad angles because I think it's hard to know just how it's just how fast that kid is. It's ridiculous. Back over to Twitter for a second. And that's the same question. A lot of people want to know about Deuce. Will we ever attempt another field goal? And if so, why? Dan, we got to, baby.
Yep.
We got to. You can't go through a whole year. Yeah.
Had a good day today.
But he did have a good day. Ira's right. The kid might have turned the corner. Yeah.
It's a good day. Well, we may remember this Tuesday.
Corey, just for you, 1st and 10 on their 15, 0-0 first quarter. Let's run Fitzgerald out there and kick a field
first
goal.
down.
First down.
Because they're not going to rush. They're going to think it's some sort of fake.
I'm going to turn to Fitzgerald and be like, this is how much I love you. Get out there.
And this is how bad BC is.
And if you don't like the first one, just tell Mastromanno to down it.
Down it.
We'll try it again.
Try to get on second down.
Yeah.
Don't you worry about it.
That's
Pick it up
smart,
and run.
because he's got to see the ball go through the posts.
Yeah.
It's something besides an extra point.
They get down to the 5. Norvell's like,
field goal.
Let's run it in.
This is how against conventional wisdom I am. Get out there and
Coach,
make it
you're down 14 to 10. It doesn't matter.
This team's fun to root for, writes Crofty, and makes you feel optimistic for the future. It feels like the exact opposite of those scary Terry mass turnover backpack teams that we hated. Feel the same, guys?
Accurate.
That's.
Let me ask you this. So we've seen Norvell jump on Papuchas' shoulders. He seemed like
need
he
him
got
to stop
excited
doing
again this
that.
game.
Yeah.
If they beat Clemson, is my man just going to start high stepping down to the
I want him to
end
walk
zone?
stoically and shake hands.
Well,
and say,
that ain't happening. There's nothing stoic about that dude after a win.
Get used to this.
He's going to do cartwheels out to the handshake.
Yeah. Can you imagine? That would be creepy if he just walked stoically like, this is what we do.
This is what we do. I expect. I should have beat you last year too, and you know it. Shake hands.
Hey,
look
good
right at
game,
him.
Coach.
Good game.
Good try.
Good game. Yep. Welcome
Good
to
try.
bitchdom. That's where you're going to live from here on out in this rivalry.
I want the backflips.
I want the backflips too, because I think it would be fantastic. And if there's a young coach capable, you should do it.
Or the worm. You could do the worm. Just and like kind of dry humping the ground as he's worming his way to Dabo.
The worm, or so the centipede or a backflip, either one. The backflip is my favorite. And the feet are going over and over, and everyone's like, "What the hell is
Look
he
at this
doing?
guy."
Look at
that's
and then he does a split. Pulls a naked gun.
Stephen A will be on First Take debating. Is he the most classless coach in college football history?
The other side would have to say he's the greatest coach in football history, because that's the only way you do this thing. Brad writes over under 70,000 Saturday.
I'm going over, man. I think it's gonna be a great crowd. Not in a lot over. They can only get
not a lot over, but I think it'll be over. It's
it
a good
used
number.
to be 83,000. What is it now?
77, something like that.
I say 71. BC is going to bring a lot. They're going to bring their full capacity of, 150 people.
There's a few Brownlee ones that I'm going to ignore.
Yeah, we're not going to.
He feels bad enough.
We don't have to kick him down.
He feels bad
further.
And that's a tough cover. He was telling those corners, like, I wouldn't even be here if we had these guys last year. Like, I would still be at Florida State.
left because I thought there was no hope, and now they got NFL dudes out here.
Now they just
killing
bring in
me.
giants.
What are we doing?
Awesome. Good.
For Ira and Corey, I'm Jeff. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Be well. Peace till next week. Go Noles. We'll talk to you then. And don't forget, it's just a buck, but fleetingly. We think now's the time, guys.
Jump
it's
in.
just a buck for
Quick.
warchant.com. All right. Good job. Take care. Peace. Bye.